Hey everyone, Andy Earl here, CEO of Write It Great. As a ghostwriter for top experts looking to change minds with their ideas, I know a thing or two about the power of the written word. What is it that makes some writing absolutely unputdownable while other pieces fall flatter than a souffle in a blackout? Turns out it's all about mastering the psychology of tension. In the previous video, we talked about the slow reveal, how gradually unveiling information can create delicious suspense. But today, we're diving deeper into the science of what makes readers' brains tingle with anticipation. Strap in, because we're about to explore the roller coaster ride of emotions that is writing with tension. Imagine you're reading a thriller novel. The protagonist is tiptoeing down a dark hallway, heart pounding, unsure of what lurks around a dark corner. Your own pulse quickens, your palms start to sweat, you're flipping pages faster than a casino dealer. That is your brain on suspense. When we're reading something full of tension, our brains are flooded with norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter that heightens arousal and focus. It's like a chemical alarm system that screams, pay attention, this is important. The real magic happens in a part of your brain called the corpus striatum. A study by Lane and Kolsch found that this region associated with reward anticipation goes wild when suspense is the highest. It's the same area that lights up when you're anticipating a juicy slice of your favorite pizza. So when you're crafting tension in your writing, you're basically turning your reader's brain into a craving, quivering mass of excitement. But how do we create this delectable tension? It starts with a dash of the unexpected. One of the key ingredients in the recipe for tension is violated expectations. Our brains are prediction machines, constantly trying to anticipate what's going to happen next based on patterns we've seen before. But when a story takes a sudden unexpected twist or a piece of information challenges our assumptions, it's like a record scratch on our mental soundtrack. We sit up, take notes, and desperately want to know more. Imagine you're reading an article about the health benefits of a particular superfood. Let's say kale, because, of course, it's kale. But then the author drops a bombshell. Despite its reputation, a new study shows that eating too much kale can actually lead to severe thyroid problems. Wait, what? Kale, the holy grail of health foodies, might be bad for you? That's the kind of violated expectation that makes readers do a double take and hungrily read on to resolve the cognitive dissonance. As psychologist Vera Tobin explains in her book Elements of Surprise, our brains are especially attuned to these schema discrepancies, moments where new information clashes with our pre-existing mental models. So as a writer, your job is to find those common assumptions and poke at them until they squirm. Violated expectations catch readers' attention, but to really ratchet up the tension, you need to create a sense of unfinished business. In our video on the slow reveal, we mentioned the Zeigarnik Effect, the idea that our brains latch onto unfinished tasks and unanswered questions. It's like a mental cliffhanger, a story without an ending that nags at us until we get resolution. This principle is incredibly powerful for creating tension in your writing. Let's say you're writing an article about memory enhancement. You might start with a tantalizing question. What if I told you that forgetting is actually the key to remembering? You've planted a seed of intrigue, a knowledge gap that the reader now itches to fill. But instead of immediately providing the answer, you pause. You go on to tell a story about a group of students who consistently outperformed their peers on exams despite spending less time studying. And they weren't using any fancy memorization techniques or study aids. In fact, they were doing something most people would consider counterproductive. By interspersing these pregnant pauses, these unanswered questions throughout your piece, you create tension that propels the reader forward. It's like a mental scavenger hunt, with each new piece of the puzzle only increasing the desire for the complete picture. You've hooked your readers with violated expectations, piqued their curiosity with strategic pauses. Now, it's time to really turn up the heat with some high-stakes obstacles. Nothing cranks up tension like a ticking clock or a looming threat. When the stakes are high and the consequences of failure are dire, readers are on the edge of their seats, emotionally invested in the outcome. Imagine you're writing an expose on a corporate scandal. You've introduced the whistleblower, a mid-level employee who's discovered some shady dealing. But then you reveal that they're not just risking their job, but their safety by coming forward. The company has a history of silencing dissent, and the whistleblower has started receiving dangerous messages. Suddenly, the tension is palpable. Will they be able to expose the truth before they're silenced permanently? A 2004 study by Brewer and Lichtenstein found that readers rated stories as more suspenseful when there was a clear negative outcome looming on the horizon. It taps into our innate fear response, the primal part of our brain that's always scanning for potential threats. By raising the stakes in your writing, you engage this visceral sense of danger, making it impossible for readers to look away. You've got your readers' hearts pounding and their palms sweating, but to really make your tension unforgettable, you need to make it personal. The most gripping tension is the kind that hits close to home. When readers can see themselves in a story, the stakes feel personal and relevant. That's when they're truly invested in the outcome. This is where the power of empathy and relatability comes into play. Imagine you're writing about decision fatigue. You could start with dry statistics about depleted willpower, or you could write, picture yourself at the end of a grueling workday. Your inbox is finally empty, but now you're staring at your phone, paralyzed by the simple decision of what to order for dinner. That same brain that masterfully handled complex problems all day now stumbles over choosing between pizza and Thai food. Sound familiar? By inviting readers to see themselves in this everyday moment, you transform an abstract concept into a visceral experience they intimately understand. By crafting tension that resonates with your readers' own lives and emotions, you're not just telling a story, you're forging a connection that makes your message unforgettable. When readers recognize their own triumphs, struggles, and daily experiences in your writing, they're not just reading along, they're feeling every word. You've hooked your readers, raised the stakes, and made it personal. Now it's time to bring it all home with a tension-breaking insight. Every great story needs a satisfying ending, and every masterful piece of tension needs a cathartic resolution. This is the moment when all the pieces fall into place, the aha insight that releases the tension you so carefully built and leaves your readers with a sense of gratification. Consider a piece about smartphone addiction. You might build tension by exploring the mounting anxiety people feel when separated from their phones, the constant checking of notifications, creeping feeling that this relationship with technology isn't healthy. Then comes the resolution. Research shows it's not just the phone itself that hooks us, but rather unpredictable timing of rewards, just like a slot machine. Understanding this mechanism transforms vague anxiety into actionable insight. We can break this cycle by turning off notifications and scheduling specific times to check our devices. It's the psychological equivalent of that first deep breath after a suspenseful movie, the release of tension that's both a relief and a reward. Chip and Dan Heath, in their book Made to Stick, referred to these as insight epiphanies, moments of sudden comprehension that stick in our minds long after the details fade. The key is to make sure your resolution feels earned, like a natural outgrowth of the tension you've created, answering the questions you've raised and leaving your readers with a sense of satisfying closure. So there you have it, the psychology of writing in a way that produces tension. By violating expectations, creating strategic pauses, raising the stakes, making it personal, and providing a satisfying resolution, you can keep your readers hooked from the very first sentence to the final period. But remember, tension isn't just about cheap thrills or manipulative cliffhangers. It's about crafting an emotional journey that resonates with your readers' deepest fears, hopes, and desires. It's about using the power of story and suspense to make your ideas unforgettable and your message truly impactful. So go forth and write with tension. And if you want to learn more about crafting irresistible writing, be sure to check out our other videos on the Write It Great method. Until next time, keep those pages turning.